Hello and welcome once again to our daily chat review and outlook. Today, Tuesday has successfully ended and we are back again. This is dollar index on the daily. So quickly, let me just go over what the day actually did. Remember, this is the opening gap I marked yesterday during the review, and the price had closed here. So I said I wanted to see this being used as a resistance for a continuation downside. If you watch the video, it is there. We specifically and exactly got to that point. And then I said that I would love to see what price does from here once price hits this higher time frame support level, which is a BPR. Okay, so this is the daily. You could see that we didn't come all the way to this, but we are seeing a very good rejection after we took out this near-term low, hits this higher time frame support level. So moving forward, what I would be expecting, I want you to understand that this is enough, right? This is enough for a continuation to take out the external range highs. If you remember, I said that when market open, it's likely we see the external range liquidity taken, and then we'll come back to the internal range liquidity. Now it is done. So from here, we'll monitor what price does. If it gives us a signature that it wants to trade higher, then we go target the external range liquidity as we targeted, because the daily order flow is bullish on the USD index, and so we wouldn't want to go any contrary to that, right? So this is why we are using this area as our support. Price has rejected nicely from there, closed back into the range, also back into the range of the previous day. Let's see what the H4 has for us. The H4 hasn't really set up yet. I want to see a close above this down closing candle here to serve as the H4 order block. I don't want to see this one being used as resistance level. I would love to see this one being disrespected if indeed price is ready to go higher. The reason I say that is because I have the higher time frame order flow backing us, right? So the daily order flow is very bullish and it is backing us. So we don't expect such to hold, right? When the daily is backing us, we don't expect this gap to hold, right? I don't expect this gap to hold or to serve as a resistance level. Otherwise, if it did, then it means that we also come back for this low. This is what I'm trying to say. If this is going to be used as resistance, then it possibly means that we'll come back into the area that I marked on Monday, or was it during the outlook, the weekly outlook, right? So, but if it's time and if it is bullish, as I am saying, I would love to see this one being disrespected. Of course, the H4 hasn't really done anything. Still possible for us to hit this and then come back for this one more time to take our stops. Because if you look clearly, also we have some sort of equal lows here, right? So the H4 can basically hit this opening gap and then come back to take out the liquidity that has been left here before whatever move happens, right? But on the other hand, it can just disrespect and then go. If it disrespects and continues higher, it means that the higher time frame order flow, which is bullish on the daily, that is rather in play, right? So I hope that is very clear enough. So on the H1, this is the flat lows that I actually outlined. Seeing this being closed above I want to see this one also being closed above, and then I would love to mark this one out as right. Once that happens, I want to see this being used as a resistance level to trade higher. Also, I would be watching this fair value gap here. If it gets disrespected, that would be very, very good enough. If this one gets disrespected, that would be very, very good enough. This one has already been disrespected. As you can see, it served as resistance here, failed to close or take out the low, and then price disrespected. That means that this is the first sign of bullishness on the H1. If I see a pullback, this one being used as support, and then break and close above this H1 fair value gap, then I would be very, very convinced that price is ready to continue the higher time frame order flow. In that case, I wouldn't expect this opening gap to hold price any longer. I hope this is clear enough. The step-by-step action that I'll be following. So I want to illustrate, if we see pullback, I want to see this being used as support. I want to see this fair value gap being broken and then also being used as support. And then it means that I can confidently expect price to go for the high, right? So I would first of all wait for this to bounce, close above, and then I can confidently take a trade in here for the highs. So in that case, this is where I would love to place my trades. Target the highs, right? So let me go to the EU. Have the same scenario on EU. That's why I put this here. I was actually analyzing this one. So let me go to the dailies. Go to the dailies. This is what I put on from Sunday. So we can clearly see that yesterday, this is the internal liquidity I marked. There is a small portion of daily fair value gap here. That is what actually held price here. And then we rejected nicely, closed back into the Monday's range, right? So ideally, the H4, we can see, I want to actually see there's also SMT here, right? On the H1, when I go to the H1, I'll show you there's SMT here, but I want to see price close below this level. It has already closed below this, and we are leaving a fair value gap here. That's a very good sign. I also want to see a close below this, and then perhaps below this one, this H4 fair value gap, right? Let me mark that out. This one, that one, right? Price close below this. That would be a very good sign, right? And on the H1, so on the H1, price bounced off of this. I'm marking this and that because if it is an H2 chart, this would serve as fair value gap, right? Bounced here and then went to take out the high and then dropped, closed below it here. And so what I want to see is perhaps price bounce from here, go back to take some internal ring liquidity. There's an H1 fair value gap here, right? Price takes internal ring liquidity, rejects off of the edge H1 fair value gap, right? Close back below, retest the order block that will be formed here, and then I can confidently trade to the lower side of the curve. If you can see, this is more like a market maker sell model. Well, this is the buy side of the curve, and now we are about to see the sell side of the curve. So I would wait for the confirmation, and then when I get the trade, I would hold until we see this being taken out, right? See how it looks like on the M15. We haven't really seen any range being created yet on the H1. I would love to see an H1 range being created. That is when I would forfeit my pullback. So the length of the range will determine where price will pull back to, right? So I'm patiently waiting. I only drew this and left it just so it can remind me of what my expectation is before I go into any trade, right? So that'll be it. Let's go to GBPUSD. So the same way on the H1, GBPUSD came for this fair value gap, but failed to take out the high here, and then we broke close below it. So this is the SMT I was talking to you about. SMT EU was able to take out this high, but GBP USD couldn't take out the high. So it's broken. It looks like this is fairly weak. And so if I'm able to get a trade, I would also hold for this. I think that if the SMT should form and then the FMT should be confirmed, sorry, the GBP USD would be much better pair to trade because that looks much more weaker, right? For now, it's a cracking correlation, but if I see price creating more bearish order blocks, I would love to take it to downside, right? So this is what I'll be looking at going forward. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and we have a CPI at New York Open 8:30 in the morning. So that is what I'll be looking at. So I'll be monitoring what and how London price action does, and then perhaps a manipulation on New York Open for the real move to ensue. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to end here. If this video has been very successful to you and it's been very educative to you, do like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel for much more of this video, and I will see you next time. Thank you for your time. Bye.